I don't intend on wearing pants, alright? Oh, come on, Cat, we never dress up and we always miss Halloween. Okay, I always miss Halloween, but I thought this year would be fun if we actually, did a themed video, dressed up, put up the decorations. Alright, I won't mention it ever again. Never gonna say it again. We're gonna get millions of views. Gaming is often filled with many scary villains, but often the scariest thing about them is the writing. Because my god, they are
so cool. The heroes, they're like the Eucharist. They're good and holy, but Jesus, they taste bland. In gaming, your goal as a hero can feel pretty cookie cutter. Story isn't first, gameplay is. But for a lot of games, it makes storytelling kinda poopy. Where is that rascal? Oh, it's little narrative in this. Basically, when you're killing people as Nico in Grand Theft Auto, when he's trying to have a deep and dramatic story about the troubles he's facing, yeah, it can kind of make you forget the story and game are even related. Saving Zelda from impending doom, that is my #1 priority right now. Woohoo! Yeah! You don't see sorry having a story, it's because it's a game. And usually, unless they're visual novels or creative draw-dick games, they're usually focused on making things fun over having complex storylines. Try as they might with cutscenes and extended lore, writing a good villain that simultaneously, it feels the plot, the need for the characters to have a goal while also being at the end of the game as the final challenge, it's kind of a tall order. But to show you what I mean, let's get into all different types of game villains, from old to new,
Let's start off with the villains everyone knows the most. The simple villains. They suck. Well, you thought this was gonna be a good video?
By the way, it's a video on villains, so it's gonna be spoilies. Yes, I know, how can I say Bowser, the king of the Koopas, sucks? Well, with the Mario series in general, the story is as old as time and aged like fine dick. Evil demon steals beautiful woman and an economically and socially average man goes to save her. Amazing. If we're talking about writing, with characters with meaningful goals, I'm sorry. What is Bowser's? No, really, what does he want Peach for? What reasons? Is he just horny? He steals power stars for what? To be strong? For what reason do you need to be strong? You're already a king. It's like half the time he doesn't even care if he takes the L. Just wait until next time. Until then, keep that control stick smoking. I spent too many days getting to the top of this fucking castle. But there are so many villains like Bowser in the Nintendoverse, not even just Nintendo. They have very surface level traits and only exist to move the story forward. It's like King K. Rool wants bananas. Ripto, he gets called short, so he takes it out on everyone else. Wily, he's got beef with Dr. Light and just wants to take over the world. Cortex, he got bullied, so now he wants to take over the world. Jesus, Eggman, you too? Hordes of robots, a fleet of ships, and for what? I want to rule the world. Why? A Krispy Kreme at every corner. It's like a game of Clue. Evil Doctor, world domination, island, demon, princess, castle. Witch, sister, the secret lair. Yeah, these villains suck, but at least Gruntilda, fit the tone of the game. Banjo-Kazooie was so funny, and Gruntilda's goal was just so hilariously sad. It just makes sense in this stupid-ass world.
But some of these characters could also fit into the anti-hero role, which, it's very questionable to me that they could, when push comes to shove, they team up with the heroes to take down an even bigger evil. Okay, cool. But are we just going to forget the crimes they committed? Oh, he literally kidnapped this woman way too many times. Let's just play tennis with him.
Here's an example, Dedede. He's actually not that bad. He's just a crooked and selfish asshole piece of shit. And while Meta Knight's is more serious, that doesn't prepare you for the lore this series has. Moving along, Wario and Waluigi. Okay, Waluigi's not really anything, he's just there. The creation of the character boils down to wanting to make a bad Mario, which is a portmanteau of the name Wario. He's essentially the opposite of Mario, selfish, attention-seeking, Squidward that one time he ate too many Krabby Patties. I really just love his dumbass, no matter what he's doing. Anti-heroes don't always have to be goofy rivals, though. Sometimes they're fun rivals for your hero to push the story forward, like Miles Edgeworth and Phoenix Wright, the rival trainer in Pokemon, Wolf in Star Fox.
And then there's the Sonic franchise.
I'm Sonic, but red. I'm Sonic, but dark. I'm Sonic, but a bird. I mean, games are far more than stories, as I said, and these games know that. So they boil these platformers targeted at kids to have villains that are kinda just bullies. They don't need to be sympathetic villains. Sometimes you just need to shit on someone. Overall, it's easier to make dumb, confident villains that do stupid, poopy things that don't make sense in the boring real world, so the story of the game can keep moving.
But what if developers actually want to have a story?
The next category of villains are the opposite side of the spectrum. These villains still are very much shallow, just instead of being short-sighted with easy-to-understand goals, just make them huge and godly so you can't understand them! I love God, he's crazy. He made corn look like this and this. How do you do that? Doing this makes sense, though. Instead, they just make villains that are so stupid, powerful, or all-knowing that having realistic goals don't really matter. And one of my favorite villains of all time falls into this category.
Sup, nerds?
What are you doing?
Can't hear you, I'm being too cool.
You can already fly. Why did you need to do that?
Hear me, I'm a god.
He's got a cool appearance. He's got designs that change game to game. He has cool powers, but most of all, I like how strongly rooted his goals are, but that's a blessing and a curse. You see, the King of Evil is attached to the Toblerone, and through Link and Zelda also being reincarnated different times, but somehow always being cute white people that are, like, decently statured. Actually, what? Ganon's demon form always carries over from game to game and timeline and ocean and desert. Whether he's Ganondorf, Demise, Clammy Ganon, or... Whew. Didn't know the Sacred Realm had a freshman 15. But Wind Waker, which is technically the older, more thick version of Ocarina of Time Ganon, where young Ganondorf was brimming with sideburns and bottomless arrogance. This one tells a more darker story. He sought to take over Hyrule, and we're gonna ignore all the murder, but he sought to take over Hyrule because he wanted a better land for his people, where the desert would either make you die of hydration or freeze to death in the night. Ganondorf saw the fields of Hyrule and he's like, Although I don't really know if I can feel for him when he immediately boxes a child.
Pack your water wings, kids, we're going to Wild Water Kingdom!
Now, if I had to rate all the Ganondorfs, their appearances, and how well they were villains in their games...
Wow, offended.
You appeared at the end of Twilight Princess totally unannounced.
Come on, everyone loves a good twist.
Literally no one liked it.
Ultimately, all the stories of the Zelda games differ, and so do the villains. There are many in Zelda, but of the ones that aren't Ganon, Ganondorf, or an offshoot of the bastard, Skull Kid, or Majora from Majora's Mask, is a pretty interesting one. Yeah, I know Skull Kid is more of whatever, he's a playful trickster, a joker. But the actual host of Skull Kid, the Mask, is the real root of evil. Majora is just a chaotic, evil character that only wishes to see the world burn. It's literally just obsessed with insanity and causing havoc within the world. You wanna know a trope I don't see talked about enough? The game plot that surrounds an evil power that must be stopped with the power of friendship and X amount of magical egg McGuffins. And I've only dipped my proverbial ingrown toenails, and let me tell you, it's not proverbial, they are in pain, but I've only seen a few RPGs, and of them, I've seen this trope a lot. An example I can think of is the Paper Mario games. All of them. Not these ones. Let's see, the Thousand Year Door Shadow Queen. As you're fighting in the final battle, you realize a few minutes in that not only do your attacks stop working, she refills your health, and then it's a scripted battle. Yeah, I know they're trying to make a moment where all the people you've met on your adventure are like, yeah, you can do this, and then Peach is like, Mario, just fucking take this! Thanks for wasting my goddamn time! Speaking of waste, while everyone was eating their cream of mushroom soup, come on, this version of Peach is way better than Bowsette. Evil Shadow Queen Peach. I have not seen enough art of this lady, let me tell you. Count Bleck from Super Paper Mario, he wasn't bad either. Unlike other RPGs, you actually saw this villain unravel as the story went on with little cutscenes that BAM! Just kidding. Dementio. Big reveal. While Count Bleck for the whole game is being touted as the big bad, you come to understand that the real twisted one is this asshole, pretending to be a sidekick waiting for his time to jump in and take all the power. So he steals the Pure Hearts, takes Luigi, and makes him into this freak. Although the idea is cool, I kinda wish the form was cooler. Imagine just some god-sent Luigi with wings.
I feel like I'm forgetting a pretty important one. I'm wearing his costume, ain't I? Dracula may be one of the most prominent horror villains in all of history. I mean, he's been, like, evolved into many different forms ever since the Bram Stoker iteration. And I mean, we've seen so many different forms, not even just from Castlevania, but... Dio. Okay, we said it, I got it out, but Castlevania's has a difficult story. He actually had the love of his life killed, and he blames it all on humankind, and he's definitely been a hard foe to take down, but at least, of all the atrocities, he's probably the worst Dracula of them all.
So I did do a spoiler alert at the start, but I will go on to say that from this point in the video on, we're getting into some dark territory. Persona 4! I don't want to spoil it too much so you don't see how these cogs work together, but the main antagonist of the game has set up the plot from the very beginning. The God of Control. He's kind of given up on humanity.
All of these idiots are really arguing about the color of a Starbucks cup on Twitter. Are we for real?
Taking the form of the Fates plot, he grants the will of the people, which boils down to people not having to worry about conflict or problems in the world so they can just meander about their lives. This is Millennials the game. He uses the whole game to see if there's hope for humanity and uses you as the guinea pig, until you're like, I have several issues with this. Then you fight him as a giant Womp's fortress. After a it seems like you can't do any damage to him. It's only until all of your homies down below scream, "Tell him how much he stinks!" Once their cries of help reach you, you have enough energy to fight the battle onward. The cool thing about this villain and the game as a whole is it makes you ask about society and what we treat as just. Is our will as people actually something that could benefit society? Are we all innately just selfish, self-centered pieces of shit?
Yes, next.
And this reminds me of a series with villains with similar powers that seek the end of organic life. Kirby!
This isn't a joke. Kirby is on planet-sized destruction at minimum and has fought God, so he's basically a god.
Ah, come on. I don't think it's that big a deal.
You're a plastic, punitive, peace-destroying piece of shit! Kirby can destroy us all in an instant!
That may be the case, but I know Taekwondo.
I guess we're good then.
This is gonna have Kirby spoilers for all one of you who cares. Zero, one of the few reoccurring final bosses of the Kirby series. Look at this thing. It has no stated motivations, it's just a doomsday Armageddon being that only seeks to end all life. And Kirby just, yeah, whatever, it's another day. Planet Robobot's final villain seeks to destroy all organic life. And if you thought that was it, Star Allies revealed one of the Kirby series' most long-standing characters that turns out to be one of the strongest beings in the lore. This butterfly destroys Galactonite, which is one of the strongest warriors in the Kirby lore. In one shot. He appeared at the start of every Kirby game. Alright, that's enough of the big god characters. How about we take it down to my last and favorite category of villains? The sympathetic villain.
This one I would argue is between the two other categories because while they're not as simple as the simple villains, they do have simple thoughts, and they're not as godly as the godly villains, but sometimes possess the same powers.
And me! I'm one too!
Negative. You caused Tyrell to drown.
Well, they should have packed their water wings.
Anyways, I'd argue these villains are often the most scary of them all because we can see a lot of ourselves in them.
Whether from an unfortunate upbringing leading to corrupted views, or situations that were just out of their control, leading them to where they are today. This category is where we're going to talk about a lot of my favorite types of villains. There was a Akechi from Persona 5, Borderlands Handsome Jack, Flowey from Undertale, MONIKA from DLC.
Come on, what the hell?
Really? Ganondorf came in on a skateboard, and you weren't gonna give me a cool introduction?
MONIKA from English class, what are you doing here?
So, how was Mexico?
Ow. I don't even look like a piñata. I'm a computer monitor.
Preaching to the choir.
But the point is, I'm back by popular demand.
Yeah, actually, we have you pegged for a minute section later in the video after Flowey. We still have to get through GLaDOS.
Yeah, that's not gonna fly.
If you cut me
Ooh, that is not a flattering frame to stop on.
Don't worry, Alan. I'll save you. Ow.
Now it's just you and me, Mr. Cat. Wasn't that a bit too easy?
Yeah, I'm not even sure if he's on my side half the time. Also, could you not?
Oh, that's
All right,
perfect.
ignore me, cool.
I've been waiting months to hijack one of your videos. I've sprinkled little hints of my plan for months, patiently waiting for my time to strike. Finally, I can be back in the spotlight. I can go global. The face of villains worldwide. I'll be facial.
Really don't think you know what that means.
Hold that thought. I've got to write the most awesome script about the most awesome villain ever. Me. And I know what you guys in the audience are thinking. Only because it's all you've been saying on Twitter. Monika is so irrelevant, that meme is dead. And to that I say, suck on these nuts, you fucking nerds.